Holy shit! Oh my god!
Welcome to episode 14, a slightly belated episode this week after a couple of weeks off with me, Nigel Simmons.
And me, Ian Wallace.
And for reasons we will get into later, we have been off air, but first... And now, a word from our new sponsor. Oh, yes, we love a good tractor. And
we do.
Especially when it comes to slurry season, when it's traditional for farmers to spread human and animal feces, I believe, onto their land in order to help the growing process. Right, Ian? That's what I thought. Now, I should explain why we've been off the air, because Ian went back to the UK for some good, honest labour in order to get some funds together to move again back to Bali to his wife and stuff. But it apparently didn't turn out quite as expected, right, Ian? You're going to have to tell us what's going on, man.
Well, so I started work, 3 weeks ago, and... doing this sort of slurry spreading, tankering of rather glorious stuff. Not the sort of thing you want in your sandwiches. And yeah, it was okay. It always is. We always have a few little mishaps. But on the Friday, I was working at the back of one of the tankers, and for reasons best known to itself, whatever, an inspection cover blew off. With about 2 foot away from my head. So it was pretty catastrophic, actually. I mean, I'm looking okay, but fuck me. So an almighty bang, followed by what transpires as 3 bits of metal that hit me. I got 2 in the head, so I've got 2 big gashes in my head. One on my chest, followed by about 25 tons of liquid shit that threw me out of my boot. Right. My boot got left behind, my right boot, and sent me about 15, 16 foot down the track. And this tsunami. Fortunately, I was with a mate, and he dragged me out of the ship, dragged me sort of into a safe area so he could then turn everything off. And I remember lying there and seeing this fucking tide of shit coming towards me. I thought, I need to get out of here. So I crawled into the field and was then sort of losing consciousness and all that good stuff.
So wait, I've got some questions. So number one, we should explain to the listeners that, and I think we've got a picture here of the tanker, because you're driving a tanker, right? Full of shit. I mean, is it slurry, you say, but is it is that human or animal?
No. Feces? No, it's industrial waste basically. So it's a lovely cocktail of. There's a lot of abattoir washings in there, so it's a lot of. It's all delightful stuff, mate. It really is.
So, like what you got? So you got animal parts. You've got
not parts, but they would have been near an animal at some stage.
Right.
And just, I mean, it's basically it goes into a lagoon.
And so I presume you get up pretty early in the morning to do that stuff, right? Sort of farming. So you got to get up at stupid o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. So you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. This is on day 2, right, of your...
no, this is day 4. This is day
4. Day 4 of your job, driving the slurry tanker containing body parts.
No, it's not body parts.
Well, who knows? I don't know what it is. So what is it? Is it where does that stuff come from?
Well, it comes from just when you wash down anything. yards or abattoirs or food production places, vegetable plants. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all right.
So it's not actual feces.
No. There's no dumps.
So it's the stuff that, because I remember working in Norfolk before, and we should remind you that we are actually two blokes from Norfolk. I remember back in the day working at, and I forget the name of it. It was Frigidaire or something. It was one of those kind of summer jobs I had.
King's Lynn.
Yeah, King's Lynn, and then you had to. There was a job where there was a freezer unit, so the meat or whatever would come in on a carcass, and having been sort of butchered already, and the best bits of the animal have been taken away, so the steaks and the rump and this and that have been taken away. The meat that you can actually sell in supermarkets, cut up nicely, put under cellophane and all the rest of it. Then there's a carcass left, right? So that carcass is then, as I remember, hung up on a sort of an abattoir kind of train thing. And it would be passed through a container, if you like, a sort of a secure room. At which point, somebody would take out this high-powered hose, and then they would wash down the carcass, right? And while there were still bits of meat on it, so that those bits of meat would still be of value, so they would then be washed down into a gutter, aluminium gutter, and then used in fucking hamburgers or sausages.
Yeah, mechanically recovered meat.
Absolutely, mechanically recovered meat, which is an absolute shocking thing to actually contemplate in terms of the food chain of what's going on in England.
Right.
So if you went to a pub, you would get served a sausage or whatever, some burger, frozen burger. It would generally be slurry parts that had been washed with a high-powered hose down into some sort of drain.
Arseholes and eyelids.
Arseholes and eyelids, and then processed into your beautiful pub hamburger. So I'm assuming that after that process, then the bones or whatever the carcass is hung are then slung somewhere else, and
they go for rendering. They go for
rendering, so they get crunched up and stuff. So the water used in that sort of crunching up process would be the kind of thing that you're talking about.
Wastewater.
Right. So you're carrying. I mean, how big is that truck? I mean, how many tons of slurry?
It'd be 27 cubic meters.
All right, so 27 cubic meters is about the size of a if you flattened it out, it'd be the size of a football in a container on the back of the truck.
It's a lot of fucking dirty water.
It's a lot of dirty water, right?
Yes.
So then you've got in the cab at 5 a.m. and I'm just trying to explain this for the readers who may not know the actual process of farming and stuff.
And you're doing a very good job
slurry or dirty water, right? That dirty water would then be transported to farmers, right? Who would presumably spray it on the...
via it goes to a lagoon. So you have all these different elements, all different product lines, if you like. So you end up with a blend, and it's the same, with lots of things. So it's so you end up with a blend of a highly nutritious product that you put on.
Well, not to you or me, but to plants.
But it helps grow plants and crops,
right.
and vegetables, and all the rest of it. So it's all good stuff.
Okay, so that's the stuff in the back of your tanker at 5 a.m. in the morning on a Friday, day 4 at work.
Yeah.
So what, you've got out of the cab and then?
Yeah, without going into too many details. So it's
we want the details, man.
No,
Come on, we want the details.
We can't.
What do you mean? Okay, so you get out of the cab. Okay. We should explain also that there's some sort of litigation going on. So we're not going to get into details of whose fault and whatever the fuck, because who knows what was going on.
So basically, I was at the back of the tank. I was at the back of the tank. And where we normally are to attach pipes and all that sort of stuff,
right.
And it blew. So, as I described,
she blew like that. It just blew.
That sort of thing.
Jesus.
Yeah. So,
and then it was secured by these large bolts.
Yeah,
which
wing nuts, which
sort of whizzed past you, and some of them hit you, right?
Some hit me. So anyway, ambulance was called. They turned up quite quickly, actually, and by this time, I honestly thought I was going to die. I mean, that's not being melodramatic.
When you say that it blew you out of your boots, that's when I thought, okay, well that that must have been quite a force of something.
Huge.
I mean, was it a Like an explosion?
No. It's just like a door opening, or very quickly.
So was it like gas that hit you, or slurry?
No. It's just purely all of the slurry, the liquid water. So
really,
yeah.
And that blew you how far into the air, do you reckon?
About 14, 15 foot. No, 15. Yeah, a good 5 metres. Good 5
Out
metres.
of your boots.
Yeah,
Jesus
or one boot.
Christ.
So I ended up with a fucking great.
That's going to get you up in the morning, boy.
Yeah.
Fucking
so my mate.
So then, what were you aware of immediately? And I mean, obviously, you went into shock, right?
Immediate. I thought that was my lot. I thought I would never see my family again. Seriously, I thought that was my fucking lot. And then when I was laying in the field, I just obviously was in shock and stuff. I was shaking like fuck. And my mate called the ambulance. They turned up. And my mate was fantastic. He got covered in this stuff as well. He didn't get hit by anything, I don't think. But he certainly got... we were both completely fucking drowned in this stuff. And the ambulance turned up. Then they called the air ambulance. And then the paramedics from the helicopter then took over. And they cut all my clothes off. And the hilarious part was that I was wearing a very skimpy pair of underpants.
You were wearing your wife's G-string.
No, they're not my wife's.
To remind you of home in Bali. Or not your wife's. Even worse, not your wife's G-string. Your girlfriend's G-string. As they cut them off, you thought the last thing in your mind was like, oh shit. I wish I hadn't put those on this morning.
That's right.
Fuck.
Which caused a lot of hilarity with my mate. But anyway, so I was laying in...
What colour were they? Come on.
Black.
Of course.
And so they cut all my clothes off. They fed me fucking loads of morphine, which I hate. Antibiotics.
Who hates morphine? Come on, man.
I do.
Who hates morphine? How can you hate morphine?
No, it's fucking horrible.
How can you want... In what way is it horrible? I mean, it's...
Just makes me sick. Just makes me sick.
Oh, I see. So it makes you ill. Right.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Sick. Yeah. Not
it's
like,
awful. It's awful.
No.
So they sort of did what they could. I was in a huge amount of pain, mainly from my chest. I've got a fucking red lump on my chest.
Did you get a bolt in the chest then? Or?
Yeah, right there.
So one of the wing nuts smashed you in the chest.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So went to the hospital by road, actually, didn't get ride in the helicopter. And got there and was... I mean, obviously, just straight in, they started treating me and stuff. They put me in a scan almost immediately. And then...
Put you in a scan, right? Okay, a CAT scan or
CT
something,
scan.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's all a bit of a blur, but within, obviously, an hour or something, they came to me and said, you're going to have to stay in.
Right.
Oh, shit, okay. And by the way, you've fractured your skull, you've got a bleed on the brain, you've fractured your spine, you've fractured your sternum, and you've got 2 broken ribs.
Jesus, man.
And a fucking great cut on the back of my heel, which they had to stitch. They put glue on 2 big wounds in my head.
None of it's good.
No, it was pretty fucking awful, actually. So, I mean, there's always little funny things. So, my mate, we both got covered in this fucking shit. And my mate ended up in A&E because he'd been, he needed to be seen.
Well, he'd imbibed, he'd been splattered and imbibed this fucking antibiotic-resistant slurry of the carcass of a cow's arsehole, etc. I imagine you would be on some powerful antibiotics for that.
Yeah, well, the worst thing for him and probably the other patients in A&E was the smell. It was fucking putrid.
Really?
So yeah, I mean, you can't do anything about it. I mean, I've washed my hair probably only about 4 or 5 times since I've been out of hospital.
Yeah.
Every time it gets wet, it smells again. It's like a fucking dog. Yeah.
But it smells like a what? It smells like a wet dog, or
it's worse.
I've got a dog, and it's not that bad a smell.
Well, no,
it's worse than that.
Dip your dog in shit, and then smell it. And that would be like it.
So it sort of smells like a dead Bali rat.
Yes, that sort
That
of
kind
thing.
of
Yeah,
sort of
that's not good.
sweet smell of death. Yeah,
Yes,
I can imagine.
So
Oh,
when
Jesus.
they took me up onto the ward,
Right.
my and, and they decided they'd have to sort of give me a bit of a bath before they
Right.
put me in a nice crisp hospital bed. And
Right.
these two nurses or auxiliary nurses, whatever, they did the best, but fucking hell, because I mean I was covered, I was absolutely covered in it. And one of them ended up nearly waterboarding me because I was laying on my back. She put all this fucking soap and stuff on my beard, but it all went up my nose, and I then started to fucking drown. And then after that, they put me on the ward, and they brought me a gift pack of Lynx. There's some sort
right. Sort of deodorant, you mean?
yeah,
Lynx
deodorant and
Extra
and shower
power.
gel. That's right, as a subtle hint.
What was your experience of because presumably this is the NHS, right? You're just going to a regular. Yeah. What was your experience of the NHS and all that?
It was good. I can't fault it. I really can't fault it. Yeah, I mean, I was straight in, no fucking about. You know, they sorted me out. I didn't have a lot of time to wait. I got travel sick on the trolley going up and down the corridors,
Right.
from lying on my back and looking at the ceiling. So I had a little hurl halfway to the X-ray. Oh, because he had X-rays on my elbow and my knee, because they thought I'd smash them as well.
Oh, man.
So yeah, I was only in hospital for 4 days, but they reckon they only keep you in that amount of time because there's so much fucking disease and viruses and stuff going around. They just ship you out. It's the safest place.
Yeah. No, because if you stay there, of course, you end up with fucking Legionnaire's disease or something.
Yeah,
don't you?
or just whatever. Yeah.
I mean, in any hospital, that's always a threat.
Yeah.
But so tell me about the NHS. I mean, the nurses. Where were the nurses from? Were they local or were they foreigners or what?
There was actual nurses. There was no British nurses.
Right.
Nursing assistants, or what, I'm not sure what they call them, but auxiliaries, whatever. They predominantly were British. But the doctors, my consultant was a British lady, but all the nurses. And
When you say British,
doctors,
you mean you're talking about white?
Yeah,
That's not
boulets.
French. Okay, boulets,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
so then the the rest, the rest of them are like what, Ugandan, Nigerian, all those. Because I've heard a lot about what's going on in the NHS and all that.
Filipino, I think there's some
Filipino.
Filipinos.
There's some solid nursing care with the Filipinos.
Oh fuck me, yeah. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. So I was on serious pain relief. I mean, despite my dislike of morphine, I was using a morphine syrup at night because I had no choice. I mean, and I still use that at night now, actually, because the pain in my head, I'm not, obviously it is fractured and I have got a bleed, but I'm not aware of it.
Right.
But my chest and my back is fucking grim.
So when you say you don't like morphine, have you been dreaming on the morphine?
No, it just makes me feel ill. Just
really, like physically nauseous,
Yeah. I had it years ago when I used to dislocate my shoulder with monotonous regularity, and they used to give me morphine there.
Right, I remember. We've spoken about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
my experience with morphine has always been a very, very good one, So the last time I was in hospital, just to digress a little bit, because we'll get back to your story, but I forget what. I was kicking over my motorbike. I kicked over my motorbike, and my foot slipped off the kickstart. I was wearing flip-flops, of course. Never do that. And my shin just smashed into whatever piece of metal was there. It was very painful. Wow. And I remember sitting down thinking, because you sort of get used to pain a bit if you've had pain before.
Yeah.
You sort of get used to the shock coming and then the adrenaline coming, and then you get the actual pain. You go through that. Well, it's not my pain. It's not somebody else's pain. You sort of deal with that. So I dealt with that, and then it came up as this sort of hematoma. So there was no cut on the outside, but there was a big thing going on inside. So I left it for a couple of weeks and thought it was okay, and had to then go to hospital. Because it was just too red and angry, and then the guy said, "Look, you need to get that cut open and cleaned out." So I went down to the hospital on BPJS in Bali, and I remember going into the theatre, the operating theatre, and the guys there were like a football team. You know, they were like this kind of cool bunch of guys, and they said, "Do you want to go to sleep, or do you want to stay awake?" Now, the last time somebody said that to me, you know, I had to actually pay for the drugs. Because I knew that question. I thought, well, I said to him, look, I think I want to stay awake. So they gave me the old morphine dose into the base of my spine. Right. You know, and I stayed awake while they cut open my leg and they got the scrubbing brushes out. I could feel them physically kind of, my body was moving with them scrubbing. Scrubbing with them. But I couldn't feel any pain at all. Right. And all I could do was talk to them about football, you know. So they were all Liverpool supporters, and I was like, okay, well, I'll be a Manchester United supporter. You know? So I had a great old time. I had a fantastic experience on the morphine, and then I was just happy as Larry. They wheeled me out into a side room, and there was a nurse, and I think I probably felt harassed and stuff, which is entirely inappropriate, but I was extremely happy. And the doctor turned up, and he said, are you feeling good? I was like, fucking A, man. I'm great. He said, don't worry. He said, the pain comes tomorrow. Like that. Right, I was like, yeah, whatever. And he was right. Yeah. Because the next day, because they don't keep you on the morphine, you know, in this country and in England, where you're all pussy-ass bastards, they keep you on the morphine, don't they? Yeah. And they send you home with the morphine and stuff. But in this country, they don't even give it to you when you're dying, you know. No. It's against the principles of medical care here. So there's no, when you're dying of cancer, let's say, like my mother was dying of cancer, they don't give you morphine. They give you paracetamol, you know. So you pass your life. Yeah, you pass your in your life from heaven to from this reality to whatever other reality is on paracetamol, you know. So they won't give you morphine, you know. So anyway, so when my morphine ran out and I was in the ward and he came the next day with the nurse, he said, this might hurt a bit. And fuck me, my daughter and my wife were in the room, and as soon as they opened the wound, I started swearing. Now, I'm not a guy that takes pain well. I'll have to say. I take it, but I need to swear very badly. Like The Exorcist, like the girl in The Exorcist on the bed. I need to swear like her. So I started swearing like that. And I just said to my wife and daughter, look, I think you better leave the room. So they left the room, and I apologized in advance to the doctor and the nurse. And while they opened the wound and then just scrubbed it out, you know, pretty much on paracetamol. Man, the words that came out of my mouth, so inventive, and so creative, but so bad. I mean, like really bad, you know. And I ate my fist while they did it. And then, like the Greek god who was caught shagging Zeus's wife, you know, who was then tied to was it Theseus, tied to the mountainside, and the eagle came every day and pecked out his liver, and then it regrew, you know, like that guy. They came again and again, the doctor and the nurse, you know, like day after day.
What, kept scrubbing it out?
Man. Oh yeah. And fuck me. And every time they came, I had to say to them, look, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to swear very, very badly. Wow. And I'm talking about words that I didn't know existed. You know? And the pain, Anyway, look, man, I'm just so glad that you're okay, because it sounded like, I saw the pictures, it's like a fucking... near-death experience for you, and so much. Also, you've gone back to earn money, and then you landed yourself on day 4 in this.
I can't work for 2 months. Two months I've been signed off, and then I've got to go back for more scans and stuff. So it's just going to be a long process, you know. That's what it is. But yeah,
how are you? Talk about, go on.
About scrubbing out a wound. So they had to scrub my head wounds. And I think I obviously benefited from having some morphine, because I mean, it fucking smarted. I mean, they had to obviously get all this shit out.
That'll get you up in the morning, boy.
Aye, yes. But so I'm making progress.
Okay, good.
Some days it feels like I'm not. I mean, it's only been a fortnight.
Do you think you've got any lasting disabilities from it?
I don't know.
This could be litigious, so maybe we shouldn't talk about it. But
knows?
you're still in pain, right? I mean, you still can't move around.
No, I can't.
Like making a cup of tea is difficult.
Making a cup of tea is okay. I can't put my fucking socks on. Socks and shoes.
Right.
That's the worst.
Right.
And sleeping is difficult. Hence, I have a little squirt of morphine. But we'll get there. So it's what it is. It's what it is.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us about your
with the group? Not really. Well, no. I mean,
the group,
yeah.
With our listeners, our massive phalanx of listeners. Is there anything else you'd like to share about your experience? Blown up by a fucking tanker and covered in the slurry of abattoir juice and whatever else is in that shit. Did any of it go in your mouth?
God, yeah. But we do that. That happens all the time. I mean, I've been doing this. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this particular work for 3 or 4 years, but when we, went around pig farms and stuff, I mean, you got it in your hands, you wipe on your jeans, and you get a sandwich. I've got a strong constitution, but I'm probably benefited from having antibiotics and tetanus jabs. So
you're basically what you're saying is you're very okay with eating pig shit. You can. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Yeah.
But it transpires that they had to. They took the ambulance out of commission for probably a couple of days while they decontaminated the whole thing.
Does it stank so much?
Well, it's not. No, it's not so much the smell. It's it's a biohazard.
Oh right, biohazard. Yeah, of course.
I was covered in nasty stuff, and so by definition, so were all the paramedics and anyone who came near me. So the ambulance got taken out of commission. The police turned up. I didn't see them, but they turned up, and they then had to decontaminate their boots and their floor mats out of the car and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
Did you make the local paper? That's what I want to know.
I don't think so. No. I
don't understand why somebody wouldn't have covered that as from the local. Well, so where was this? Where were you when this happened?
Around Bury St Edmunds.
Bury St Edmunds. So that would be what would be the local paper around there?
I think it's Bury Free Press, isn't it? I think
the Bury Free Press. Yeah.
But
no, you didn't even make the Bury Free Press because
I was robbed.
Surely. They do police calls, don't they? And there's like an industrial accident's happened. A man's been blown out of his boots and covered in shit. For me, that would be a great story,
It would. But then, on a slow day in Wisbeach.
Well, it's a slow day story, but it's on a slow day. That's an even better story, because you've got something to write about at least. So, bloke got a tanker full of shit, goes to do whatever. He gets blown out of his boots, and then helicoptered to the hospital. I mean, and he's covered in shit. So I can think of headlines already, and. Yeah, fuck. Which brings us nicely to talking of local newspapers. It brings us nicely to this. Yes, the Sun All Weekly. Yes. Well, maybe if I called it in,
I think you should. Yeah,
because you do have a connection to Sun, so I could call it in, and it might actually make a paragraph or two in.
I think that'd be hilarious. Russell.
The Sun All Weekly. Yeah, I made a real print, and I think you should. You'd probably be worthy in the pages of the Sun All Weekly. So this week, I'm just going to not to cut you off because we'll get back to a little bit on your story, but there's been a couple of weeks of the Sun All Weekly that we've missed out on, and surprise, there's not been a great deal of difference in the news coverage because it always seems to be the same, But there's a couple of things that I've noticed this week in this beautiful print publication, which I'd like to share with our readers and with you because you haven't seen this on a week. You've been away. So there's one story that says, "Watch your surroundings. Driving carefully and following the rules is sometimes not enough in Bali."
Right.
Now, this is clearly a story about like renting a motorbike on a holiday island and with no helmet or any insurance or anything like that, and just getting on it in this chaotic system.
Riding skill,
that apparently, according to this, has rules. Now, I've been here 30 years, and
I see no rules.
Well, I mean, I recognise that there are some jungle rules.
There's guidelines.
There's not even guidelines. No one's giving you any guidelines. There's no. I mean, there's a test, but you just pay a bit more, and you don't have to take it and all that. So you get on your motorbike, and it's chaotic. And I see people constantly, mostly Russians, driving around with no t-shirts on and no helmets and stuff, and I just worry about them. But what happened was that there was a death of a 22-year-old female tourist from Belarus, Kasian, and it's prompted authorities in Bali to once again remind tourists to drive carefully and obey traffic laws while here. However, the 22-year-old's death has nothing to do with her not driving carefully or obeying the traffic rules, but with the impatience and carelessness of a jet bus driver from Magelang, Central Java, who tried to overtake her while she was riding a motorbike on Jalan Sutomo in Denpasar last week. So my point is here, it ain't just stupid tourists and their inability to follow the inexistent rules. It's actually a fucking jungle out there, man. You need to be careful because bus drivers and truck drivers, they don't give a fuck.
I travelled by bus from Java last year back to Bali, and fucking hell, man. I'd never witnessed driving like it. I mean, it's just mental. Absolutely mental.
It is mental, and it's fast-paced, small roads, and there's obviously no cycling lanes or anything like that.
No, but just the standard of driving, in particular, I think, from my experience, the buses and lorries is just, the standard is woeful.
As the bus overtook the woman, it hit her and she fell under the bus. It's not known if she was wearing a helmet at the time of the accident, but basically she got fucking run over by a bus, not doing anything wrong. So, I don't know, it also says here, driving carefully and following the rules is one thing, but you also have to take into account the carelessness and ignorance of the traffic rules that many local drivers show every day, as well as the rather low level of law enforcement, So this poor Belarusian woman, she got just fucking nailed at 22 years old. And that scares the shit out of me as a father of a 20-year-old. That scares the shit out of me. So, not
what
good.
else? They got a lively story?
I've got another lively story. Yeah, there's another one that caught my attention in the Sanor Weekly this week, and I just flicking through all the adverts here. This is again the usual real estate, and we'll talk about the real estate a bit that's going on in Bali because it's off the fucking scale. Let's just talk about that now. I mean, it's off the scale. So prices of rentals and stuff like that in Bali have just doubled and tripled. So things like in Canggu and what have you are now going for the same kind of level that Singapore offers, for instance, or used to offer 5 years ago. So it's absolutely fucking bonkers. So if you want to rent anything with 2 bedrooms and a small pool or whatever in anywhere near the beach in the south, you're looking at least 300 million, which is 30 grand Australian a year. And they're asking for 3 years up front. So you've got to come up with 50,000 quid.
Yeah,
basically 50,000 quid like up front to rent a small place anywhere, but that's not even near the beach. That's just like off the. So it's intensely mad because what's happened is there's been free credit. Excuse me, there's been free credit a lot, and there's been a lot of Russian money coming in. People running away from the war and stuff. So anyone with money from Russia or whatever has been just arriving to get their kid out of the war. The possibility of being bundled into the back of a van. They just come in and they've been throwing money at the local property prices and stuff, and then of course it's just the banks have responded, or the banking system here. So there's banks, and then there's also like village banks. Now village banks are like, they're not proper banks, so they're not regulated at all. So you can turn up with a passport alone, just a passport as a foreigner, with a bag full of $1 million in cash.
Yep.
and you can deposit that into the LPD, they call it, the local banking system, and they will give you, or they used to give you, 7.5% on your money, which is what was a great deal.
Wow.
So what's become the situation now is that you can still turn up with $1 million in cash in your suitcase and with your passport and deposit it into the bank, but they will only give you like 3% now.
Right.
So what it says to me is the lending rates have been generally in the banking system here have been halved in the last 2-3 weeks. Borrowing rates have doubled.
Yeah.
And we're just basically looking at a bubble that is about to burst in Indonesia, and I think not just Indonesia, maybe in Asia too. So I think there's going to be, my feeling is there's going to be another banking crisis, and I think it'll just take a couple of big defaults and stuff from banks or whatever to. There's also now a company offering mortgages to expats, to boules here, which is the first time it's ever happened, and it's of course some sort of Bitcoin or fintech backed lending system. It's a short tenure, but it's a variable interest rate. I mean, it's really fucking buyer beware now. So you're looking at coming here, throwing your money into something long term. You'd be a bit daft to do that. So Anyway, that's our news from our economics desk.
Yes. Yeah. And talking of which, I saw a thing. Just glanced this morning. There's as part of it, obviously, there's a huge amount of building development going on.
Yeah.
Especially down our bottom end of the island.
Yeah.
And they're hacking down a 100-year-old tree to make way for some development. And I didn't read it, I didn't absorb what it was about, but I think it's just a general, quite sad.
I would find that hard to believe. I think they might hack it back.
No, they shoot
actually
it.
hacking
They
it
shoot
down.
it being cut down.
Yeah, but cut down means like cutting off. Actually, to take that shit away, like dig it up and take it away. That costs way too much money. So I would imagine they're just cutting it in half. But anything down Brower and anything down the south, it's just mental. And also in Sanur, it's got out of control. It's absolutely out of control. So anyway, it's property prices and all that for you. So the other story in the Sunday Weekly I noticed was it says an Australian man was arrested after fighting with an Indonesian man outside a supermarket in Kuta and hiding inside when security guards tried to apprehend him.
Right.
He then caused damage inside the supermarket and threatened to burn it down. To demonstrate his ability to do so, he produced some impressive fireballs using lighter fluid. As a result, he was locked inside the building until the police arrived and arrested him. According to the local press, the man was heavily intoxicated at the time of the incident.
Well,
he now faces 2 years and 8 months in jail for assault, not including charge of causing public disorder. So you see what you've been missing, mate.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm feeling really homesick. I mean, I've been back. 3 weeks rather, and I'm feeling very homesick already. So
how is it? Just outside of your illnesses and general kind of debilitative state. What's your experience of England?
I really haven't got an opinion because I've hardly been out. So. It's nice. I have to say, in the week, in a few days that I was working, I really enjoyed being out in the Suffolk countryside. Something I'd sort of forgotten how much I loved. So there's some lovely things about England. There really is. But I wouldn't trade them long term for Bali, certainly.
No.
But as far as the political landscape and stuff, I just can't be bothered with it all. And cost of living.
Well, there's big elections coming up, and I see that the Conservatives got kind of basically trounced in all the mayoral elections. Sadiq Khan's back in London. God bless him, he's a good man. And there's a couple of conservative males that got in, but mayors that got in. But they ran on their own independent kind of ticket. But basically, it was a whitewash for the Conservatives, and I think they're out, and deservedly so. Completely. I hope that there's going to be a general election there soon, and life will change a bit.
They're
for
still
the
talking
people
about
that are
it
suffering.
being 7 months' time before before there's an election. But, who knows? Who knows?
What's your lasting memory of you being blown out your boots? I mean, we talk about we've all been through Well, we've all been through like accidents, and people talk about your life flashing in front of you, all that. What's your lasting kind of thought about that?
The flashback that I have constantly actually is just that whoosh of it all happening. Just the volume of liquid engulfing me. And I can just remember, I suppose, screaming. I thought it was my fucking lot. And if it wasn't for my mate, I think it would have been my lot. I think I'd have probably drowned. He dragged me out of the way. So I'm forever grateful to him.
But what went through your mind as you sort of recovered in the arms of the paramedics and stuff?
That I thought, at that stage, it wasn't until I got to hospital that I thought I'd be okay, that I thought I'd survive. Because I had such incredible pain in my chest and my back, which I now know why. But I really thought I wouldn't see. I'm going to get emotional, so I'm going to stop. But it was fucking serious. As you
thought you were going to die, what were the thoughts that went through your head?
That's a really good question. It was just purely not seeing the people who I care most about. Yeah. That's all I can say. Yeah. It was fucking horrible.
Mate, we're glad you're okay and you're recovering well, and it's been awesome to talk to you in episode 14 of
That's right.
Under
Who'd have thought it?
Under the Volcano. Bang shitty.
So yes, bang tidy.